What up, y'all? So, let's get into another video today, and let's get into the actual technical stuff about what you can do to sit there and structure your offense. So, I will get into actual on-hit things later on, which will probably be way fewer videos than all the stuff I'm going to do about on-block and other interactions. But the big thing that I want to start with all of this on-block stuff first is because of the fact that your offensive structure should actually start, in my opinion, from understanding how to interact if your stuff is blocked versus how to interact with your stuff on hit. Because if you hit somebody, it's basically just run your game, but there's different approaches to running your game. But the thing about on block is you're now interacting with the person, so it really comes down to, do you understand how to play with interacting with the person? So we're going to talk about stagger pressure, but we're not talking about stagger pressure or stagger pressure. This is where I'm going to already tell you I hate the way people get taught stagger. The reason why I hate the way people get taught stagger pressure is because it's focusing way too much on what you physically do and not what the concept behind it really is. And it is understanding how to create gaps and how to, like I've said throughout these last couple videos, create the illusion that your opponent can do something. If they don't have the illusion they can do something, then why would they press a button? Like, if a true string is a true string. You can't press a button on a true string. So, we're on Uni. I have the frame data info up. So, we're going to talk about the different styles of gaps, or quote-unquote the different styles of stagger pressure that I traditionally, there are more than what I'm going to showcase in this video, but the main thing that I'm getting behind this video is open your mind to the concept of stagger pressure and more of focus on how you create gaps, because you need the gaps for people to have the illusion that they can do something. So first, I have Eltonum set to 5A. She has a 5-frame 5A. Okay, it's also -2 as you see from the frame data info, but with her having a 5-frame 5A, that means that naturally fastest normal in the game beats a lot of things. But then you have your natural gaps, or your natural staggers. And that's where things aren't too strings. Like 5A 2B, without a delay, is a natural string. 2A 2B, natural string. 5A 5C, natural stagger. 2A 5C, natural stagger. So this, me pressing the immediately gap lane, I'm not hesitating at all. This will always beat the 5-frame norm. It is just how that works. It is a natural gap. It is just naturally there for you to view, right? Simple, straightforward, doesn't do too much, right? Then we get into actually doing the quote-unquote stagger pressure that people do, which is adding the delays to create gaps. But the thing is, it is spoken about too lightly about how to create the delays to create gaps, because there's multiple ways to create delays for gaps. Because you have to understand your cancel windows, like I talked about in the last video, come into play. Or you have to play around your cancel window. So again, 5A 2B naturally in immediate cancel, or 2A 2B naturally immediate cancel, gaps. It is a true string. That's why it's like you have to add just the slight enough delay, even though she doesn't have long cancel windows in her 5A or 2A. Like, these do not have long cancel windows. Well, 2A has a long cancel window than 5A. But you have to sit there and perfectly time your cancel window to actually create a gap where you can get the 2B counter hit here and actually beat the 5A. Because as you saw, if I'm too long, I'll trade. So it's understanding that timing to actually have your delays, one, physically timed to create your gap so you can still beat options if needed, but also sometimes playing with the fact that you might want to create a longer gap than normal because of the fact that they might respawn late and you are looking for a later response. You have to play around that. It is not as simple as like, just because you do something, someone's going to instantly react. None of us are bots or AI that I assume playing fighting games currently at the moment. So no one's going to have frame perfect reactions to everything you do. It is impossible. So the delays, right? But then we get into actual more fun concepts of stuff, where now let's talk about gap-based staggers, where or spacing based staggers. Let me say that way so it doesn't sound confusing. So instead of abusing the fact that I am abusing my pressure to create gaps where there are clear match points, instead of doing the clear match point thing, now we get into the nitty-gritty of how about I space myself in a way where I can deal with certain reactions. And this is where this range comes into play for you. So one thing I like doing about at this range is that since I'm at this range, I'm relatively safe. But at the same time, unless I'm immediately showcasing that I'm doing something, my opponent also has the ability to move. And if I recall, I can make the bot dash. I can. Alright. So now it's timing things specifically to catch certain interactions that can happen instead of catching buttons. Because now it's like, yeah, you can dash. There's dash blocking in the game, right? But the thing is, like, now I can catch you for the movement, and if you are overcommitted to the move where you thought you actually had a full chance, I might catch you then with the counter hit because of the fact that you might have been trying to do what the bot can do, which you might have been trying to actually do like a dash button. So instead of me, I should not have picked that button. That button is great. What's your dash C again? She does not have a dash button that's going to be make this easy, so I'm going to press a different button. So now it's like I'm trying to catch now a different type of interaction than as simple as, oh, let me catch you pressing 5A, let me catch you press 5B or something. Now I'm trying to catch your movement, which is a thing that you can consider too. Because now instead of it being as simple as like, oh, let me catch, like, oh, let me catch brain. Let me catch you doing a button. Let me catch your movement. Because even your jumps can be called out properly if the interaction applies to it, right? That's where you get things where like Gordo having an anti-air command grab is like, oh, you're gonna jump forward or neutral jump, bang, go back to the ground. Stuff like that, where it's like, it feels like a read, but you can actually plan for stuff like that. Same way, if we go back to standard buttons, one thing you can also do in this is that, keep in mind, you can sit there and create the gap for then the fully width inkhead, which now opens up another window and layer to where, for example, I love FF. I love this move. This move is so stupid, and I went over why I use this move in certain ways in the manipulating space video, where it's like, this move is so stupid because of the fact that not only it has a normal move, it has a charge, you can raw cancel it if you have the execution for it, the same way it has the dash attached. You have all of that from this one move. So one thing I like doing with Yuzu, and you could do this with other characters in fighting games too, is where it's like, you let them move fully whiff and you punish the whiff. Because that's also creating a gap, but instead of you punishing them immediately trying to interact in the gap, you're punishing late for the reaction they did in the gap. So, for example, the fun thing about Kiri, because Kiri does not have enough blocks done for this to be true like it is here on Saki. But the thing is, if I decide to not commit to this frame trap that exists, and decide to dash, then I get to punish the whiff of it, which changes it. Because now I can let you willingly do something in the gap, then punish the whiff. Which, yeah, I might not get a counter hit, so it might not be full reward, but it's a different way of picturing the illusion, or painting the illusion for your opponent of how you can interact. Right? So it changes the perspective. So with both your natural staggers, your delays, which not there. There, and like using different versions of creating gaps. There's multiple ways for you to sit there and actually structure your pressure in the quote-unquote stagger mindset that is not just simply delaying your buttons and hoping that you creating gaps through delayed buttons work. There's multiple ways to paint the picture overall, hence, again, bigger picture matters. Like, you are painting a whole picture, and the way you paint the picture can change a lot depending on what's happening. So, really quick video though, but it's really a simple technical thing that is just not actually explored to the technical depth that you actually can apply to it. There's even more stuff than what I actually put in here, depending on characters you play, what freedom your character gives you, and etc. So, I want to close out with that real quick and add another video to your palette today. I might do one more, but the thing about the next video is that it's going to be long. I'm going to have to sit down for a while, and we'll see, just because there's other things I was planning on doing today, and we'll see what happens. But it will be another nuance video, and the reason it's a nuance video is because I'm going to talk about adaptation. Because I want to talk about adaptation before I get into conditioning, because the thing is, conditioning plays a part after adaptation. And the reason why I say after is because of the video that I'm getting to. I'm going to get into a specific VOD that, for a couple people in Persona and a couple people in some other gaming communities, I think I've done it for SG and maybe a couple people in French Bread, where I'm going to go over a specific VOD publicly now, instead of me going over the VOD like I have privately, and actually show you what true adaptation looks like and understanding what looking at your opponent really is. Because adaptation comes from looking at your opponent, and it's very important that you understand your opponent is king. Like, literally, your opponent is king. So later, y'all, let's see if I get that video out tonight. We'll see what happens.